Hello and welcome to the Bike Show, and an episode that will this week see us sharing some frankly amazing promotional offers from MV Agusta, and Don will be taking another ride out with his friends and the trusty Hero X-Pulse that he so fondly and confusingly refers to as his fearless Ferrari. First though, we're going to concentrate on some international news because there's been a lot going on during this past week or so, and refreshingly and somewhat surprisingly, we can talk about some new models without once mentioning electric propulsion. I know electric power is where we're heading, but I have to admit to harbouring hopes of some kind of renewable biofuels revolution and cleaner burning petrol that will allow our current amazing engine technology to survive a few more years than the EU imposed finish line for new internal combustion engines that is coming our way in 2035. That's only a dozen short years away, so in the meantime, let's make sure we enjoy what petrol power has got to offer. And what better way to do that than with a new Ducati? Okay, it's not really all that new, but is the result of a collaboration with fellow Italian performance specialists Lamborghini using the Streetfighter V4. You may remember that there was a similar partnership between the two manufacturers last year that gave us a limited edition Diavel 1260 Lamborghini. I wasn't especially kind to that, being in the middle of a grumpy period where I had become extremely irritated by what seemed like a never-ending onslaught of glorified branding exercises. Ducati had done one with an Italian interior design firm that gave us a bike with a special seat. And we had Triumph with a Breitling collaboration where you didn't actually get a watch. And of course there was also the James Bond Special Edition Tiger 900. I can't believe that hasn't been followed by a Harley Davidson Jason Bourne Fat Boy or a BMW Hansel and Gretel's GS. Anyway, leaving the sarcasm aside for a moment, there is obviously a place for these products because enough customers are found for each and every one of them, and so it's me who is the clueless, classless heathen without a smidgen of taste, and so I shall try and show some more respect to this luminous green Ducati that has a lot of the usual fripperies and one undoubtedly lovely addition. The basis of the Ducati Streetfighter V4 Lamborghini is the 2023 S version of the Streetfighter V4, which is admittedly a very special place to start. It will be produced in limited numbers and pays homage to Lamborghini's Huracan STO, its wildest ever incarnation of that model. How limited are the numbers, you may reasonably ask? 630 of them are available, all numbered and identified by a metal plate on the tank cover. There's an aluminium insert in the ignition key and a model-specific startup graphic on the TFT screen. However, this exclusivity factor can be ramped up significantly if you also happen to be an existing Lamborghini owner, because then you can buy one of 63 that can have their wheels and body panels colour coordinated with your Lambo car. Just so they match perfectly, because apparently that's the sort of detailing incredibly wealthy people obsess about. Not that they'll ever be seen in the same place together anywhere other than their garages, logic would suggest. Mind you, the garages these kinds of vehicles live in are probably much nicer and certainly more expensive than my house, so I will keep my peasant's mouth well and truly shut on this subject. Other than to mention the Day and Easy service that I forgot, you can also buy matching helmet, jacket and leathers, or if you're one of the ultimate 63, they'll even make you a matching set of colour coordinated racing leathers so you, your car and now your bike blend into each other in a amorphous blob that oozes wealth and sophistication wherever you ride. Which isn't overkill at all. Oh no. Very tasteful and restrained, I say. Underneath the new threads, the Lamborghini edition keeps the standard engine that is good for an astonishing 208 horsepower already, and the Erlin's semi-active suspension and Brembo braking system also remain the same. This is good, as are the many bolt-on trinkets that look great and help to save weight and add style from the belly pan all the way to the seat and all points around, including a dry clutch. But the crowning addition is, for me at least, the forged wheels using the same design as the Huracan STO. That rear rim is a cracker. Well, good looking, not obviously a wheel that will crack, in case you're not familiar with the vernacular. To be one of the 600, you will need to spend $68,000 or about 1.2 million rand. To be part of the 63, you will obviously have to have already spent several million rand on one of Lamborghini's cars and then be prepared to fork out another $83,000 or just under 1.5 million rand for the bike. Right, let us move on, but not too far, because we're going to stay with an Italian manufacturer, a similarly limited edition, outrageous performance machine that in this case can only be ridden at the track. It comes from Aprilia and is called the X-Trenta, and it represents a celebration of the good times that this Italian manufacturer has had and is indeed still having at the moment in Grand Prix racing. The MotoGP team is currently enjoying its most successful season since its RSGP bike joined the class in 2015. A podium last year and a pole position and a win this year, all for Aleix Espargaro, and an expansion for next season involving a new satellite team, point to a manufacturer with realistic MotoGP title-winning aspirations within the next couple of years. This year also happens to mark the 30th anniversary of Aprilia's first World Championship title that came through Alessandro Grimini on a 125 back in 1992. A good enough reason to celebrate, and when you're using the already sublime RSV4 factory as your starting point and limiting it to track use only, then you know it's going to be something pretty special. That model makes a rather impressive 214 horsepower with a race exhaust, but the X-Trenta gets a specially developed SC project system, a higher compression ratio, and a new power output from the 1099cc V4 of 230 horsepower. Wow. Factor in a weight of only 166 kilos and you have a package capable of winning World Superbike races, I would have thought, right out of the box. So it should be good enough for your track day needs or some local racing at Swartkop or Killarney. There's the same type of full carbon fibre bodywork as used on their current MotoGP bikes, massive front wings, and for the first time we see a rear wing under the swing arm, also as originally debuted in MotoGP. All other components from the Erlin suspension to the Brembo brakes are the best available, so you can expect to pay €50,000 or about 880,000 rand for the pleasure of scalping all those Ducati V4s at the next club race at Red Star Raceway. Since we're on the subject of racing bikes, I thought we'd share with you the very cool sight of the World Superbike champion Toprack Razgatlioglu pitching up at a round of the British Superbike Championship and putting in a few parade laps on his R1. That on its own is worth a nod of respect for taking the time out of his busy schedule, but what makes this visit super cool is that the circuit he graced with his presence happened to be Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire. Cadwell, as those hardcore race fans will know, contains a famous section known as the Mountain. It's not a mountain, obviously, but it's the sort of short, sharp climb after a tight, relatively slow corner that you just don't find anywhere else in the world because it's downright silly to expect a powerful bike to be able to race over such a silly obstacle. Many years ago, I enjoyed a guest ride in the Harley-Davidson XR1200 one-make series at this very circuit. It was a support race, actually two races, during a round of British Superbikes. And even on that underpowered and overweight Harley, it was basically impossible to keep the front down, even when, like me, you wimped out and tried not to wheelie over it. On anything with a slightly better power-to-weight ratio, you can get some serious air, and so iconic images like these are the result. Toprack obviously wanted to have a go over the mountain since he's a bit of a stunt rider on the side, and so here he is on his first parade lap. See, it's not easy or natural, even when you're a world champion, to give a bike its head when you're tackling a crest as severe as this. However, when you're a world champion, it also means you have the skill and bravery to do this within 2 more laps. Toprack is undoubtedly a top lad, and he hinted strongly that he would love to come and race at the circuit, perhaps as early as next year. Go over to the Bennett's British Superbike YouTube channel for regular updates like this and some quick highlights packages from what is widely regarded as the best national championship in the world, where the racing is often every bit as good as, or even better than, what we get to see on the world stage. I can't believe they've only got 38,000 subscribers, and since we often have South African riders feature in the different classes, please head over there and support them with a subscription. This next snippet of news is for Hayabusa fans, but it's not quite as exciting as the TTS 40th anniversary supercharged Hayabusa we featured in the last episode, that brings an astonishing 372 horsepower legally to a road bike. This special edition Busa is from Suzuki themselves and is designed to celebrate, while they still can, their undoubtedly successful recent past in MotoGP before they leave the championship at the end of this season. And how do you think they have celebrated? Also with horsepower, or maybe some advanced suspension, or a seamless MotoGP inspired gearbox perhaps? No, there's some special colours. That's it. Somebody at Suzuki got paid big money for this brilliant marketing decision. No special GSXR1000 SP, no limited edition V4 MotoGP replica. If the Italians and Austrians can do these expensive, small production run specials and sell them within 2.8 seconds of making them available online, why can't the Japanese? I despair, I really do. At times it feels like the Land of the Rising Sun is actively trying to bore themselves into extinction with thinking and marketing so conservative that even my 81-year-old dad, who was a proud Honda owner, now thinks his favourite brand is for retired accountants and actuaries. Come on, Japan, wake up before your motorcycling rising sun becomes a setting sun that sinks below the horizon for good. Is that a bit harsh? I don't know. Have a think while we go for a short ad break.